Welcome to the 20-minute ditch, where I do the intro for a change. And I hadn't really thought beyond that, Mar. I was so excited to be doing the intro. Because, the 20-minute ditch, because you're making money moves. That's what we're going to go with. You know
Money
what?
moves.
Money moves, Mar. That's what we're doing. But no, the 20-minute ditch, if you're not familiar, because we just started it, this is the second one we're doing, is a slightly condensed version of Ditch Diggers, where we talk about one specific thing related to freelance writing, the business of it, and we talk about it in 20 minutes. We fill your head with knowledge in 20 minutes, and then send you on your way to go dig your own ditches. That's pretty solid.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Can you remember that next time we do this?
No, but next time, see, that'll be the intro. We'll do something different each time.
Oh, that's even more of a challenge, dude. But hey, you're doing the intros, so it's not my problem.
We'll shake it up, man. Like we're doing new formats. We're doing bold, new, exciting things.
Did you introduce us?
No, but I am Matt Wallace, and you are Mur Lafferty.
I am.
Who was nominated for all the awards.
No, not all of them.
I feel like it's all of them.
Nope, not the Locust.
Oh, you were not nominated? I'm so sorry you weren't nominated.
I am just correcting you. I'm not whining. I'm correcting
you. Not that you're keeping track or anything. Not that you're throwing knives at a dartboard. No, but yes, I just say that to say that, you know, even if I don't know what I'm doing, you clearly do in this whole writing game.
I clearly do. Yeah.
You know, if I were less enlightened or with all this success and all these awards and all this crazy stuff you've got going on, I might be jealous. I might even be inclined, Mur, to hold a grudge. Segue!
Wow.
If you're listening, you don't know that's a segue, but that's what we decided we were going to talk about it during this 20-minute ditch, Mur. We're going to talk about grudges.
Yeah.
And since we only have 20 minutes, we should get to it.
Get to the segue. So, I've been thinking about this. I recently went to the Nebula Weekend Convention and had a wonderful time. We'll talk about that more. Actually, no, the way this is timed, we did talk about that last week on Ditch Diggers. If you missed it. But one thing that happened is there was somebody there who I hate. And I was thinking about the grudge I hold against him, and I was talking to some veteran authors. I'm like, you know, do you hold grudges, and is it worth it in this industry? And they kind of pointed out that, you know, if you hold a grudge against any editor who's ever turned you down or said something offhand or rude about your work, then eventually you would just dry out of editors and never work again. But I didn't mean that. I meant a much larger slight. And then they named off the people they had grudges against and didn't tell me why, so that didn't help. But I've been thinking about, you know, everyone says you need to forgive and let things go, and you'll be a lot healthier. And when you hold grudges, you're letting somebody stay in your mind rent-free. And they're probably not thinking about you at all. And
Who said that? Was it Jesus? I bet it was Jesus.
Probably. I think he said it during the Footprints poem.
It all comes back to the Footprints
It does. Poem. It does. And I get it. I get how, you know, they're probably not thinking about you and you're just wasting your mental energy and your emotions thinking about them. However, something did occur to me. I have a bad habit of making decisions and remembering the decision I made, but not necessarily the reasoning behind it.
Right.
For example, if you ask me why I named the ship in Six Wakes the Dormeyer, I can't remember. I just remember looking up, finding it was a good name, finding it fit the ship, and then choosing it. And, like, I was looking on Facebook and found a guy from my high school. This is years ago. I'm not on Facebook anymore. But I found a guy from my high school, and I saw his picture, and I immediately felt a great wave of loathing. And I couldn't remember why. And so it's like the emotions stay, even if I don't remember why. And I'm realizing that with professional grudges, remembering why may be a good thing because they tell you, don't stick your hand on that stove again.
Right.
So it's like, I honestly think that interacting with this person will be like touching a stove again. And so I want to remember about that. I want to remember that burn. And I want to remember where it came from. And so that was my thought, that grudges are actually useful if you don't, like, just get mad at every single person who pisses you off and hold on to that forever. I mean, like, legitimate, somebody really messed you up.
Right. Now there are certainly tiers and levels of these things. And you're talking about the stuff that like you can't even remember the reason necessarily.
Well, sure, I remembered the reason about the person at the conference, but I'm more talking about sometimes you if you forget the reason, then maybe you think, well, the emotion's still there, but I don't remember why I was mad, and you don't know if it was a trivial thing or if it was a legitimate stay away thing.
Right.
So I'm just thinking that maybe sometimes it's a good idea to hold on to things.
No, it's sort of like a healthy competitive fuel, if you will. It's like that. It's not
Yeah.
exactly that, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's
Like,
one of those things where kept in the proper context, it can be helpful. Taken to an extreme, it can be unhealthy and unhelpful.
yeah, if you compare your career to somebody else, it can be unhealthy. But if you look at somebody's like output and think,
Challenge
I could do that.
accepted.
Challenge accept. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. Challenge accepted is a good way to put that. That's very interesting, Mart. I really do. I actually do find that very interesting because I love grudges.
Yeah, I know.
I love vengeance too. Big vengeance guy. Nobody's bigger. And I cling to my grudges because they fuel my hate fire. And that's not always a good thing. Sometimes it is, though. That's the thing. I think sometimes it is. I can take it too far, or I can hold on to it too long. I'm aware of that. But in some respects, it's helped me. You know, it has helped me because you get that "I'll show 'em" kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I forget who did this bit, but it was like a stand-up comedian was talking about how they were with their friend who was high and who was driving, which is not a good thing to be doing. But like they pull up next to a car, and the guy just looked at him and said, "I'm gonna race him." And then the comedian was like, "The other guy doesn't even know he's in a race, but
Yeah.
here's his friend get gun in his engine, getting ready to take off." It's like that, you know. It puts you in an imaginary race with no one because, like you said, they're probably not thinking about you, you know, the way you're thinking about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think kept in the appropriate context. Nothing wrong with that. And it's and you know what?
What?
Like the whole letting go forgiveness thing. I think that needs to be kept in a healthy context too. I think forgiving too much can be an unhealthy thing. I really do. I think there are lines for anything. I think forgiveness is a good thing. You know, I'm all about compassion and tolerance and accepting. Even as I'm very into grudges and vengeance, you know, I'm a complex individual,
I know.
but you know, I think if you go around just taking everyone's shit, you know, and just and turning constantly turning the other cheek, I don't think that's necessarily good for your self esteem or your career necessarily, man. You know, you gotta strike a balance between holding on to things too much and letting it turn you bitter and like not standing up for yourself or not making yourself counted because you let people beat you down.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. I think it's good to realize both those things. Like grudges can be good and forgiveness can be bad. That is a real. I really think that's a true statement. You know, not to say that not to say that either of them can't be good or unhealthy in levels, but it is kind of trippy to realize that because you very rarely hear that. You know, especially in a professional context.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
And because I feel like I have to bring this up every time we talk about any sort of conflict in the industry, I'm not talking about harassment or assault. That's on a
Yeah.
completely different level. Like when I said I didn't want to be on a panel with this person, someone said, "Is there something I should know?" And I said, "No, I just hate him. Not a problem."
Well, I would argue that definitely falls into the category of that's unhealthy forgiveness right there.
Well, yeah,
Like
yeah,
we shouldn't. That's the shit that we should not let go. And I think that does fall into the category we're talking about. But yeah, when you're talking about no, that's not a good form of grudge. That's not a good thing or something that should be excused or carried. That's something that should be called out and stopped immediately. You know,
yeah,
that is definitely again. There are levels and tiers to these things. There are the admittedly, and I'll say that I think we all get petty sometimes with our professional grudges. We all cling to and focus on things that could qualify as petty. when we're moving in this space, and it's success is a very hard thing to achieve, and there are a lot of egos involved. We can all be petty sometimes. So you got your petty tier, which is you do what you want with that. Then you got your this was probably a legitimate slight, but it was a year ago, and I should let it go kind
Yeah.
of tier. And then you've got your Me Too tier, which is like we need to change this shit because it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Um, and it's good to recognize and acknowledge the tiers as well. So yeah, no, I think that's an incredibly valid it's an incredibly valid point. But like the other thing to cover is like how to express that though, Mark. Because if you're gonna say sometimes grudges are healthy or sometimes clinging to those emotions are healthy, I think it's important to qualify that by like it's not okay to like send the dude a death threat at once a year just to keep the shit going. Like it's a feeling you carry with you and internalize. It's not something you should externalize unto the world.
Oh yeah, I don't talk to him. I don't email him. I no, it's not an active animosity nemesis kind of thing.
Right.
It's
Like we
it's
have.
I want yeah. I want to hold on to the grudge so I remember not to talk to him again. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So it's a utility thing.
Yeah.
It's not a vanity thing. It's not an ego thing. It's not an active what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Like when you shotgun a bottle of rum, you're looking for that kind of reaction. That's not what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about keeping things in a healthy context. There's so much you have to keep in a healthy context when you're in this business.
You got to be an adult and I fucking hate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So I
really
don't want to
getting
be
me.
because the thing is, I don't think anybody that gets into this to be an adult. That's the thing. I think there's a very large part of you that wants to avoid being an adult by doing this. You want to step off the path,
Yeah.
you know. Even though so many of us like work 9 to 5 jobs and all that, like in your heart of hearts, the professional end goal for 99% of people is you want to be free of that life. You want to have more freedom and more choices. You want to not have to do the prototypical adult thing.
Yeah.
But then you get into it and you find out you have to be an adult or you can't function or get ahead. It's an interesting dichotomy. It's like a Lord of the Flies military school.
Is
It's
it?
it's a contradiction in terms. That was a fucked up book. Did you ever read that?
I
Like
did. I
really read it?
did.
That was a messed up book, man.
Yeah, my problem is I read it when I was in high school and I just didn't get the end.
I forget how the book ends. I remember how the movie ends, but I don't remember how the book ends.
Well, spoilers for Lord of the Flies.
Yeah,
Basically,
spoilers for the yeah.
they get into a big war and then the ship comes to rescue them and one of the boys who's left just looks at him and starts to cry. And now as an
Right.
adult, I get it. It's like
Right.
you're a kid and you just remembered
Yeah.
and you just saw how dark you can get without the guidance of adults in civilization. I get it now, but at the time I'm just like, wait a minute, we just got a bunch of violence and then he starts to cry. I'm also glad I didn't read Brave New World when I was a kid because all I got out of that book was don't have sex in the heather or you're going to die.
I mean, there's probably some validity to that, and bacterial infections and whatnot.
How much bacteria hangs out in heather
You know,
opposed to
I
other flowers?
I think I think I don't know, but here's the thing: can you say for sure that there isn't a bunch of bacteria in the others? Have you done the research?
I can't. No, I haven't.
Exactly.
I
That's
just
what I'm saying. We
I'm
take it
reminded
for
of the comment in the office, which is I don't think our paper is more flammable than anybody else's.
I'm just saying we don't know. Heathers could be lethal to genitalia.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about Lord of the Flies. Sorry.
No, but that was just kind of my point is you get into this business to shake the shackles of adulthood and then find that you're actually mired in it was my point. So
Yes.
you have to deal with a bunch of stuff like conflict resolution and the thing is we constantly see examples of how and I think it almost proves what I'm talking about. You constantly see examples of authors who decide, no, I'm sticking with that. I don't want to be an adult thing, And that's when you get in like blog flame wars and authors trolling other authors on Twitter and all
Yeah.
that really unhealthy shit. Like those are the authors who like have gone full on Lord of the Flies.
That is a
That
very good metaphor. Just realized because the guy who decided to pour all of his writing effort into parodying John Scalzi
yeah,
to prove he could sell more books on Amazon.
right.
And I'm like, if you weren't such an asshole, I would feel sorry for you. Because you just wasted so much fucking time on your
Yeah.
anger. What could you have written that was legitimate?
Yeah, what could you have accomplished if you
Yeah.
had channeled all that in the appropriate context?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sad puppies.
Yep.
Total Lord of the Flies tribe. It's just you see examples of that all the time, and that should be enough proof to you to like rein it in and be an adult, even though none of us actually want to. So
Yeah.
a lot of good points there. I feel like we need to wrap it up. I feel like we're coming up on our 20
We're at
minutes. Are we coming
16
up?
minutes. If you got
We're
anything else to
16
say, you
minutes.
got 4 minutes,
Wow.
dude.
Dude, we're already really good at this.
Yeah. That's a
Hey,
good point.
you know, I like that we're 5 minutes more than writing excuses too. That
Yeah.
makes me happy. I feel like they're gonna take that as a direct challenge.
Mm-hmm. You're gunning our engines right next to them as they're off on their cruise ship.
On their cruise
And you
ship.
got your rowboat going, come on!
Oh, let's do this. I got
Yeah.
oars.
You got oars. That's right. You got oars, man.
That's the first T-shirt for the 20-minute ditch. I got oars.
Yeah, I'm writing that one down.
Should. That's when you're trying to take on the yacht and they don't even know you're there.
Do you want a T-shirt for Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Flies?
Nah, because that's a copyright infringement, isn't it?
Not just using the title.
Right. I don't know, but we didn't really come up with a cool kind of catchphrasey way to put that.
Like I got oars.
I got oars is better. I got oars is, that could be like a little John riff in a rap song. Like turn down for what? That could be the new turn down for what? I got oars. Come on. Come on.
I got me some motherfucking oars and I'm taking everybody on.
Lil Jon really is the ultimate freelance writer when you think about it. Because he's made millions. He'll come in the studio and say one sentence in a song that isn't even his song. And he's a freaking millionaire off that. He's like Dickens' wet dream of getting paid by the word.
I guess so.
Yeah, he really is. Because he will. He'll come in, turn down for what? Millions of dollars off that one song. Like that I aspire to be Lil Jon as a freelance writer. He's my whole business model right there.
Okay. I don't know a lot about rap, so I'm going to have to look up Lil Jon and see what I can learn from him.
He features a lot. It's called featuring, man.
I am aware of that. I do have a couple of albums that feature other people.
I love the umbrage that you silently took in my dismissal of even your basest knowledge of how tracks are created.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I'm dead serious about all of that. I marvel at the genius of Lil Jon as a freelance writer. I would take his master class. I keep waiting for that promo on YouTube, and it never comes. It's always like Dead Mouse and fucking not Max Gladstone, the other guy.
You do realize that if he did a master class on marketing, then he would not make millions on that master class because none of us could afford him. And so this would be a huge waste of time for him.
No, they do the master classes. They let everybody see. You ever see the trailers for those?
Well, then he wouldn't make anything?
No, he would make a lot of money, but we would all be able to watch it.
Oh, sure. I just don't trust that. Never mind. I'm looking cynical at the world today, apparently.
It's because you hold grudges, man.
It's because I hold grudges. I got a grudge against Lil Jon right now, and I don't even know why.
I don't know. It's just because he's too good. He's too good he's too brief and too good. And that's where I think we'll end this 20-minute ditch, man.
All right.
So just to reiterate, grudges not necessarily a bad thing. Forgiveness, not necessarily a good thing. Writing, the writing industry, the writing and publishing industry is basically like a Lord of the Flies military school.
Some of it is.
Some of it
Some of it
is.
degrades to that.
Some of
And
it.
if you ever need to do challenge accepted, just tell yourself, I got oars.
I got. Oh, that was beautiful. That was you brought it all back around,
I
man.
bring
I
it
can't
back.
even. I'm about to drop the mic and walk away.
All right. Merverse.com and matt-wallace.com. That's how you find out more about us, and we'll see you next week.